What's going on, guys? This is Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about a couple ADPs that are sitting pretty high and a couple ADPs that are sitting low. Potential sleepers and potential busts. So let's get right into the episode. This first guy we're going to talk about is Marcus Mariota. Potential sleeper, ADP currently at 123. He thrown for 3,232 yards and he rushed for 312 yards last year. 13 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. I know that doesn't sound pretty impressive, but hear me out. 5 of those touchdowns were from Mariota rushing into the end zone. So that's great news that he's still running the ball, that he's still getting the wheels rolling, that he could still find his way into the end zone. With the new addition of Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay's understudy last year, I'm sure he's going to open up the playbook and play to Mariota's strengths. The evidence is there with Jared Goff, how quick his improvement was. I'm sure Matt LaFleur is going to open up that playbook for Corey Davis and Mariota to build the chemistry. So that can be beautiful if it excels. That offense is only going to grow with Corey Davis and Delaney Walker playing a major role into that passing game. I'm sure Mariota is going to have way different numbers than he had last year, being that the Titans made some changes. I wouldn't worry about Mariota slowing down anytime soon on his rushing attempts. He had 60 attempts in both seasons. He had 300 plus yards last year and the year before that. So that only tells you that he's going to keep finding his way into the end zone, which is great news. I really do like what the Titans did this offseason, making some changes to the offense, making some changes to the personnel. So therefore, it's plenty of upside for Mariota this season. Once secured an elite QB1, you could wait the later rounds to pick Mariota and fill in those other spots that you need, maybe at running back, being that the list is so short. So therefore, there's very little risk and high reward for Mariota this year going into Matt LaFleur's offense. This next guy we're going to be talking about is Hurns. Plays for the Dallas Cowboys now. Signed a 2-year deal, 39 receptions, 485 yards, and 2 TDs. He was hurt last year. He missed a couple games, so that's why his stats aren't looking too great. It's great that they added a veteran to that receiver core that they need so much help at. There's nothing really wowing about the receiver core right now, but adding Hurns definitely helps. I wouldn't be surprised if Hurns became that #1 wide receiver come September, because let's not forget that big year he put up numbers when he was healthy. He had 1,031 yards, 64 receptions on 105 targets, and that's with Blake Bortles. He hasn't been able to stay healthy for the past 2 seasons, so that's why his production has been very, very low. I'm really surprised that the Jaguars let him go, but it's understandable because he couldn't stay healthy. He missed 2016 with a hamstring injury that put him out for 5 games. 2017 in Week 10, he suffered a high ankle sprain, which took him out for the rest of the season. With all that being said, I'm sure he could be that reliable receiver that Dak is looking for to be that #1 guy. With him building that chemistry with Dak, it's clear that he will be that #1 guy and he will see the highest volume of targets. So therefore, it only makes sense if you could pick him up in the later rounds where you know you're getting a guy that's going to see all those targets. It would be great to get him in the 12th round, and that would be a complete steal if everything works out. He has plenty of upside, very little risk. So the Dallas Cowboys made some changes. They brought in a new wide receiver coach that's putting in his philosophy and his techniques that could probably hopefully work out for that offense, for Dak, for Cole Beasley, for Tavon, for Hurns, for everybody on that offense, so they can build up some type of chemistry and get this offense going. So I'm sure Dak will try to lean on and build up that chemistry with Hurns during the season. So if everything works out fine, I see Hurns being a wide receiver 3 at best. But everybody loves little risk, high rewards. So you're going to get a #1 guy later in the rounds for basically nothing. So yes, his health will play a major role in this, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. Because if it all works out for him putting up big numbers how in his 2nd year in the league, hey, look who's coming out as a winner. So this next guy we're going to be talking about is Brandon Cooks for the LA Rams. He had 65 receptions, 1,082 yards, and he had 114 targets last year with Tom Brady. But my issue with Brandon Cooks that have a potential bust year is not that it's him personally that sucks. It's just that the offense he's going into this year. So it's hard to believe that he'll have the same volume he had last year, the same production, the same targets, being that he's going into a LA Rams Sean McVay's offense. Goff likes to spread the ball around in that offense. Robert Woods saw 22.5% of those targets. Cooper Kupp saw 19.7% of those targets. And Sammy Watkins only saw 14.7% of those targets. So being that Sammy Watkins only got 14.7% of those targets, it's only us to believe that Brandon Cooks would be filling that same role into that offense. So we can only believe and really only know that he'll be taking the place of Sammy Watkins, taking the top off the defense. So I don't see much production for him to be doing the numbers that he did with Drew Brees or Tom Brady. It's not Goff's fault. It's not his fault. It's just how the system, the offenses ran. Touchdown for Cooks could go up this year, being that Sammy Watkins was targeted 24.7% of the time inside the end zone. So therefore, 7 touchdowns of Sammy Watkins were inside the end zone of his 8. Cooks right now only has 11 touchdowns inside the end zone of his 57 touchdowns. So that could be good news for Cooks, but I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket on that. So being that Sean McVay's offense likes to spread the ball around, so with that 24% going to Woods, that 19% going to Cup, that's not even adding in the addition of the tight ends that see the targets, or Gurley that's going to take a chunk of those targets. So therefore, I don't see Cooks getting the same amount of targets he had in prior years. So with his ADP being where it's at, which seems okay, I could take him at the back end of the 5th, early 6th round, if he's still there. So don't go reaching on Cooks. The Rams offense do not cater to one wide receiver, so keep that in mind. The only good thing that can come out of this that has a lot of upside to it is that Cooks will see a lot more targets inside the end zone, which can lead to more touchdowns. Buyer beware, do not go reaching. So this next guy we're going to be talking about is Evan Engram. ADP currently at 60. He has 722 yards receiving, 64 catches on 115 targets. People, stay away. If you think that Evan Engram will have the same production, the same volume of targets that he had last year, you're crazy. You got a healthy OBJ coming back, you got Saquon Barkley on the rise, and you got a healthy, seasoned Sterling Shepard. There's no way Evan will see these targets again. He'll be lucky to see 80 targets this season. Not to mention the guy has a problem dropping balls. Giants led last year with 46 drop passes. Evan Engram responsible for 11 of those. It's even been reported that he's still struggling during training camp, dropping passes. He's staying after practice to try to correct that problem, but it doesn't seem like it's helping. All signs lead for me to believe that Eli will look elsewhere for these targets. With the new kid on the block, Saquon Barkley in the backfield, a healthy OBJ, and Sterling Shepard. So, I wouldn't even spend a draft pick on him at all, people. I can't stress how much his ADP is such a freaking illusion that you think that he will have the same numbers he had last year. There's no way. So buyer beware. If you have him pretty late in the rounds where you don't have anything to risk or you already secured a nice tight end, why not then, I guess. So let's just get this straight. You got a tight end that has a problem dropping passes. You got 2 players that are coming in that's going to take a chunk of percentage of those targets. Does this guy sound draftable? No, he does not. So me personally, I will move on from Evan Engram, see if there's any other options like a Trey Burton, or even the most reliable tight end I think I had in fantasy was Kyle Rudolph. So why not? So that wraps up episode 2 of Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Hope you guys liked the video. Like and subscribe for me. I'll see you guys next week for episode 3. Peace.